G'day everyone, Prep Aussie here. I hope you're all well in whatever part of the world you're watching this video. Today is Tuesday, the 3rd of July 2018, and the time here is 09:45 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Well, once again, loads to go through. Some of the comments from yesterday were extremely interesting, and I'm going to show you one in particular. As I said, I'm not the leader of anything, you know what I mean? I'm just a guy who is trying to wake people up and then trying to make sure that people survive for what's coming, and also make sure that people get together and gel as a community for what's coming. I hope that makes sense. I'm no messiah. I'm not purporting to be anybody but what I just told you. I'm not going to try and decipher Bibles or any of that other crap. It's just not me. All I'm going to give you is hopefully sound, good advice as to how we all can walk out of this and save lives. Not just me, but you guys out there as well. In the last depression, I've mentioned this before, something in the total of, I'm using the United States here as an example, and it was no different in this part of the world either, because in the 30s, a lot more people lived in the countryside and in the bush and on farms, etc. And I believe, if I remember correctly from the mathematics, that was percentages wise, I think it was 70 to 80% of people in America lived off the land in the 1930s. Virtually lived on the land, blah, 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 produced their own stuff, in the 1930s. Now, the staggering thing about that is nearly 4 million people died of starvation. And there was a combination of factors of that too. And a lot of people forget to tell everybody this, but during that time period in the US was a massive drought, an extreme drought, and there's pictures on the internet and videos and that you can actually watch the dust storms, etc. On these farms that they weren't farms anymore. They were just dust bowls with spinifex blowing across them, sort of thing. And sadly, one of the biggest things that happened was a lot of the men on these farms would leave their family on the farm and go into the cities to try and find work. But obviously they went into the cities, couldn't find work, and then couldn't get back home. So a lot of these farming places, people died on living on their own farms from starvation. You had more chance of survival, oddly enough, in the city because they set up soup kitchens, etc. And if you see the pictures of mainly the soup kitchens, they're mostly men standing there at the soup kitchens. You don't see many pictures of children in that, because there was a massive influx of men into the cities to actually get work from the country. Well, this is a historical fact. It's not something I'm making up. I've read into it. And the poor old mum and the kids, which was, by the way, mum and 3 or 4 kids, if they didn't have the strength of a community, they died. They literally starved to death. Because don't forget, back then, not many people owned a car. They had horses, etc. But you've probably already eaten a horse, or the horse has been stolen to get eaten, or the horse has been stolen to sell to get food. You know what I mean? So there's no way that they could actually survive. So that's just food for thought there. And it was no different here in Australia, folks. No different at all, except we were growing food at the time and we were doing quite well. But the cities, it was the same story. If you ever want to read a good biography on it, R.M. Williams, one of the most famous people in Australia, that's how he started his business, because he ended up going out in the bush, because whereas the Americans thought going into the city was a good idea, well, here in Australia they did the opposite. They went into the bush, and had, they set up towns, etc., in the bush, communities. Like, they didn't do it on their own. You can read all about this. This is fact, historical fact. So they'd set up all these communities living out in the centre of nowhere, hunting, gathering, planting crops, etc. And they survived. All because they got communities together. By definition, they were pretty rough, but when they first started, but then a sense of community was involved, and people had to do the right thing, etc., and they had their own laws and all that sort of stuff, which was heartening to read. I'm going to show you a comment from a gentleman called Jeff, and I'm going to read the whole comment. And once again, please don't send Jeff any emails or whatever about this. That's not the point. But I want to read it to you because it's very it'll helpfully stop a bit of Stockholm syndrome in you guys. Whereas she'll be right. Jeff tactfully has a way with words, I will say. So let me read that to you now. Okay, folks, here it is. Jeff Griffiths, 7 hours ago. This was on the video that I did yesterday. 2018, the year of oh my God. Okay, apart from the sheeple, who are the vast majority simply going along with whatever happens? People can divide it into two groups. Those who have held the levers of power since forever and are now trying to bring about a totally controlled new order of slaves and elites that involves a 90% depopulation and abject misery for the survivors. And those who are undermining the elites and their controls and are bringing about a golden age of peace, abundance and prosperity for all. This requires a positive attitude. I'll read that again. This requires a positive attitude in the face of surrounding negativity. And Jeff is 100% right. And bringing that positivity into everything that is done. Under the law of attraction, preparing for a disaster helps to ensure it will happen because of the negative emotional and mental energy invested in treating it as inevitable. That will make it become inevitable. Notice how people in the prep camp have not the faintest idea of what positive things are underway, and if informed, would only react cynically. Well, I'm kind of hoping Jeff doesn't mean prep camp as a people who are following me, because I'm trying to be positive, not cynical and regressive. People are splitting into two separate timelines. One, a disaster timeline, and the other, a positive, creative timeline of solutions, which is what I'm trying to purport, I hope. These represent a lower negative, reactive consciousness, and the other, a higher, positive response, creative consciousness. The US, Five Eyes and Europe are in the negative, dead-end camp, are indebted, bankrupted, sinking into decadence, degradation and depravity, and are trying for the New World Order. I think he means... Oh, right, I get that. Okay. While Russia, China, BRICS, SCO, etc., are in general cashed up, undergoing an upgrade, resurgence and renewal, and committed to a better world. White people are not bringing their own replacement, which was behind bringing young working-age Muslims into Europe. So not only is their dominance of the planet coming to an end, but their culture and very survival as a race is in question. Rather than be part of a despairing group, join with those who see a positive future, are part of the solution, and a happy life. Folks, if you just listened to what I said and you understood what I just said, well, Jeff is correct in everything that he just said. There's no two ways about it. He has hit the nail right on the head. You can't do this in a negative scenario. You know, like I said, running around, oh my God, if flapping hands, and if you're doing that, then you haven't prepared properly, and you actually are doing yourself an injustice, because your creative mind is trying to lead you in the right direction. I know that sounds like a funny thing to say, but it's actually true. If I just read that and you're sitting there going, oh my God, this is so onerous, and well, you're thinking wrong. The reason I'm reading Jeff's comment is because I want people to read it so they get the positive message that it's trying to portray. And it was actually a positive message. Just hang on a sec, folks. So I hope that you understand what he was trying to say there. Right, our good Frenchman, Didier, wrote to me last night, and I'm going to show you his email. Once again, it's a positive email, so I'm going to read it to you. I don't really particularly want to read non-positive emails, because they're not what we should be doing. It should be positive, not negative. So let me read this email to you. Okay, folks, this is from Didier, who lives in southwest France. I feel sad this night. I've some to say to share. I'm not religious, just baptized, but if there is a God or aliens far more advanced or whatever, I'm sure this something doesn't want us to be in the shape we're all in now and getting worse every day. This can't be the ultimate purpose of being on this earth, and I fully agree with you, Didier, and I suppose a lot of other people do. That's why we're all doing this. I don't think that something wants us working 8, 9, 12 hours a day to generate more and more inequalities around the globe. A message I'd like to cry to people is, come on people, live your life. Live your life, WTF. I mean, stop having shame on yourself. Stop that. Be proud of yourself. Tell and do what you think. Be authentic. Well said, Didier. Truth is the most lack in our civilization, and I haven't heard a truer word spoken in a long while, Didier. It's one of the things I've been trying to say to people, especially men. Men have been forced to stop talking and saying what's on their mind, and they should say what's on their mind. There's no... I will say it seems ironic to me that mental health issues amongst men have skyrocketed since that has happened. I finally spent a third night in solo camping, and now I'm okay with that, and I know that I can manage 1, 2, 3 nights outside in the dark, at least in the summer. Very nice conditions. What in bad weather with big cold and rain, i.e. winter. I'm not too concerned by water problems because of my well, but I'm worried by food shortages, hunting and conserving. I mean, if the chaos is so big that humanity can't even rebuild a beginning of intelligent civilization on the warm ashes, let's see. Well, much sadness tonight, but keep calm, let's say. Be prepared and be patient. This last one, for me, is the one I can't stand. I'm not patient, and I often feel being like a stupid, stubborn, angry a-hole. This planet is real beauty. And then he's got some French stuff there, which I'm not really sure what that says. Someone else might. Didier, fantastic, mate. Thank you very, very much. Hit the nail on the head. Now, what I'm going to do is show you some pictures that Didier sent of his camping. Okay, so Didier has just spent 3 nights camping out and testing how he managed. 3 nights. So basically he's putting all of us to shame, that's for sure, because I know I haven't. I don't know about you guys, but this is a PowerPoint presentation that he's done for us. And he's giving people inspiration here. You know, look, camping out, beautiful fields, etc. Coming into nightfall. It is night. And then in the morning. And as you all know, if you've ever camped out, getting up in the morning when you're camping out and you hear the birds and, you know, it's just beautiful. And a positive message. Less, more stress on this 3rd night. Kind of self-confidence coming in. Less stress also of all the very weird noises you can hear. You find to recognise them along the way, I'm guessing he's saying. Observe the nature. Our planet is a real pearl. WTF. That's it, folks. Okay. We're all being shown by a Frenchie. The frog's got us over us at the moment, folks. He's showing us how it's all done, really. I'll leave that there with Didier, but I want to move on to something else. Someone sent me an email. I've been corresponding with a gentleman in South Australia. A person in South Australia. I'm not sure if they're gentleman, male or female, to be honest. And they reminded me about something that I've completely forgotten about, and that is how to communicate. There's an amateur radio network around the world that you can easily tap into to communicate. You just need to go and buy an $80 radio and you can talk to anyone in America, around the world. Shortwave, no problem. And I'm going to read that email to you now. And if anybody wants me to send in this email, please send me an email and I will send you a copy of the email. I won't obviously send you the person's email address, but I will send you a copy of the email so you can actually start doing this for yourself. And believe me, this is going to become crucial in times in the future. Like I said, folks, if you want me to send you the email with the links, please forward me an email and I'll send it to you so you can contact each other, or so you can get in contact and get an amateur radio license. It's so easy to do and it's so cheap. It's a cheap form of communication that we are going to have in the future. So you can communicate between communities. It's absolutely crucial, to be honest with you. Okay. Now I just want to touch briefly on some personal stuff. I've shown you my water bottle. This is a Life Straw, where is it? Life Straw water bottle. $40. I can pee in this bottle and drink it. Seriously, that's how good this thing is. Should buy one and just carry it with you wherever you go. Make it your number 1 water bottle. I found what I was doing was keeping it with my backpack and I wasn't using it. And I thought, well, that's silly, I might as well use it. And then I remind myself that that's my main water bottle, if that makes course. Now, a lot of people are writing into me, especially on the comments, etc., saying I'm too weak and this and that and everything else. Well, I don't take that as an excuse. If you're physically too weak, there's always a reason why. It might be pain, it might be old age, it might be something, you know. Sorry, my cat's meowing there. Me personally, I suffer from neuropathic pain, the worst kind of pain. But I don't let it stop me. And like I said, I used to be into karate and boxing and everything else, so I bashed myself around, so I got a pretty high pain threshold. Or I think I do. other people don't have as high a pain threshold, and I understand that. I really do. But you can't let pain or mental anguish stop you from doing things. You have to get off your ass, and you have to get out there, and you have to start doing stuff, even if it's going for a walk. Get off your ass, get outside, smell the roses and the trees and the beauty of the world, and go for a walk. At least do that. I brought this up before. These are grippers, hand grips. If you've ever shaken hands with a man who's worked on a farm all his life, you'll understand that you are a wimp with handshakes, etc. Anybody who works with their hands usually has a strong handshake. And that's not necessarily always the case, but you know what I'm trying to say here, guys. We've turned into a bunch of wussies because we either tap keyboards or we just push pens. These are going to be your number one, and this goes for men and women. These are going to be your number one in the future. And you need to know how to use them. You need to know how to care for them. That's very important. I'll give you an example. I started losing my right hand to this shit illness I got. And I was determined, imagine being a tradesman and you're losing your hand. And I thought, nah, I'm not doing that. I've got to turn this around. So what I did was, I bought these. See the little black one? See, I've got loads of these. These little black ones, they're soft ones. So I just started doing that, building up my strength in my hand. Like even picking that up gives me a funny sensation. And I built myself up. And now I've got the 250s. And if you know how to use 250s, you'll know that they're bloody strong and hard to do. And it has helped me immensely. I can now walk up to something on the ground and pick it up with my hands, no problem at all. I mean, like with a claw grip. I don't even think about it anymore. And the reason I don't think about it is because my mind knows that I've got the the physical strength in my hands now to pick it up. Whereas before I would do the scoop action. I'd pick it up like that, picking it up underneath it and trying to pull it up. I don't do that anymore. So if you can, go and get some of these, because we are physically hand weak. We've regressed so much, our muscles in our hand are just non-existent anymore. We don't use them for anything. Maybe driving a car. That's about it. And you can't say tapping a keyboard is any good for your hands, that's for sure. So I hope you understand that point. As regards to financial, I am not a financial analyst. I'm an economic hack job at best. But I have my view on things. It may not be the same as yours, but my point here is that I'm just trying to show you what's going on. There was a guy last night wrote back an email saying you were going ooh ah, well, and he wrote disappointing. I'm like, well, piss off. I'm only trying to help, and I'm trying to show people that otherwise would never go on those websites and have a look for themselves. So, Mr. Disappointing, do it yourself. As simple as that. Don't write stupid emails to me or stupid comments to me. All right, let's do the prayers. Sorry, before we do the prayers, I want to set a challenge to people. Here in Australia and in America, or wherever you're watching, I'm going to set a challenge mainly for the people here in Australia to start building a community, whether it be whichever state it's in or territory. If you get 20 people together, Has to be 20. I'm not coming for anything less. And you get a hall and you get everything organised and you give me ample opportunity to get there, I will come to meet all the people who are at that meeting and hopefully show you how to build stronger bonds. It will have to be obviously on a Saturday evening, afternoon, evening, and allow for a good few hours, because what I've got to show and teach you guys will take that long. So I'll use the same principles we did in Perth, and it worked perfectly. And then basically I just hand it over to you guys. My job's done. You guys build the community between yourselves, and I'll see you when we get to the next place. So the challenge is, someone, anyone, whoever you are, hopefully it's a Queenslander so I don't have to fly too far. You need to build a community, and you need to get 20 verified people to this event at a hall, your house, wherever you're having it. I don't care. I'll come and speak there. So the rest is up to you guys. And as Jeff said, make it positive, not negative. This is all about positivity, not negativity. Okay? Right, let's do the prayers. Okay, folks, verse of the day. The heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? I, the Lord, search the heart and examine the mind, to reward each person according to their conduct, according to what their deeds deserve. Wow. How's that after this email video today? I'll read it again. The heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? I, the Lord, search the heart and examine the mind, to reward each person according to their conduct, according to what their deeds deserve. Whoa, very powerful, very powerful. Okay, folks, the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory for ever and ever. Amen. All right, folks, I've rabbited on long enough. Speak soon. Prep out.